Hey guys, it's Aaron, your personal coach. Thanks so much for joining me today. Welcome to the presentation, a quick Friday presentation. I wanted to deliver you guys. This is going to be on lowering your body fat percentage over winter. Specifically programming design is what I want to be talking about. So there are three main factors I want to talk about today. So number one is going to be the lifestyle factors. Number two is going to be nutrition. And number three is going to be strength and conditioning. They're the three main factors that you need to lower your body fat percentage, right? So let's go into number one, lifestyle factors. Right? There are 6 steps to optimal health. Okay, 6 steps. So that's like motivation or goal setting. That's like breathing, that's hydration, that's sleeping, that's like nutrition, and then exercise is number 6, right? I'm only going to talk about then top 4 because I mentioned the other 2 factors in regard to getting a really good result and lowering your body fat percentage is going to be like nutrition and strength. So if I can give you some tips on the 6 steps to optimal health, so number 1 is going to be like goal setting, right? If you don't know how to set goals properly, there's a specific way that I've put together with my pathway prediction program. Now, if you don't know what that is, go to my website, check it out in the online courses. I've got all the information there that you can have a look at in regard to the pathway prediction. So that's pretty much like setting a logical goal and then putting that goal in the subconscious mind and then starting to emotionalize that every day, right? So, second part of the 6 steps of optimal health is breathing. We need to make sure we're breathing correctly through the diaphragm. Do you know how many people don't breathe properly? They breathe more chest breath, right? It's important to be able to breathe correctly through the diaphragm. So that means as you breathe in, your belly pushes out and not your chest up. Your belly pushes out. Right. So next time that you're lying in bed before you go to bed or in the morning, just practice your diaphragmatic breathing, or just take a few breaths in naturally and see how you breathe. Just, as I said, your belly should come up as you breathe in, and as you exhale, you should drop down. It shouldn't be chest, right? A lot of people struggle to get this right. Okay, hydration. It's important that we're drinking 2 to 3 liters of good quality water a day. Putting sea salt in the water, no fucking tap water, right? Tap water, well, if we talk about in Australia, the tap water in Australia, it's safe, but it's got too many chemicals that kill all the digestive enzymes, right? Which is not going to be good for lowering your body fat percentage. Sleeping, crucial sleeping times, 10 to 6. Right? If we're not sleeping 10 to 6, we're missing out. 10 to 2 is your physical repair. 2 to 6 is more psychological, right? So really important that we make sure we're getting to bed on those times. Absolutely important. If we don't, we start to change our circadian cycles. Changing our circadian cycles is a stress on the body. We start to change that hormone production between the cortisol and the melatonin, which starts to lead to a lot of other factors, stress factors, sugar cravings, all sorts of shit that can happen. So then we go into nutrition, right? Nutrition, it's like a big can of worms. I could talk all day on nutrition, but if I could give you guys just some tips to start with today, it's always about metabolic typing, right? If you don't know what that is, metabolic typing is the amount of macro nutrients that we should be putting in from protein, carbs, and fats. Right? So there's a certain ratio that you should be eating. If you're eating too many carbohydrates and you're a protein type, it's not going to be good. Or if you're a carb type and you're eating too many proteins, it's not going to be good. Right? So it's all about trying to fine tune that diet. If you don't know what your metabolic typing is, go to my website on the personal coaching page. I've got the onboarding forms. You click that onboarding form, you do that questionnaire. The section at the bottom will tell you what your metabolic typing is. Are you protein? Are you carbs? Or are you mixed type? Right? So there's 3 types. And then it's all about just trying to fine tune that diet to get it right, to work best for you optimally. Right? So many people aren't in touch with what they're eating. They don't know if they eat something. They don't understand the way that they feel. So it's about starting to listen to the body. That's a really important part. So one of the best tips I want to give you today is if you're using a microwave, cut that out straight away. If you want to lower your body fat percentage, you put your food in the microwave, right? The magnetrons are going to kill all the nutrition in food. You eat that food, it's like eating like rubbish, right? Your body will like register the non-nutrient food and store it as a fat. Get rid of the microwave, man. Okay, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get it and throw it in the bin. I tell everyone this. They never forget this. I tell them a story about 15 years ago. I got my microwave and fucking threw it in the bin. Seriously, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Okay, so like nutrition. So this would be the best structure around your training. And I'll get to training in a sec. But for you to lower your body fat percentage, right, like 4 weeks of fine-tuning your diet to your metabolic typing. So that's trying to understand what macronutrients work the best. 2-day juice fast, right? Why do we do 2 days of just juicing and no food? Well, number one, like we need to give the digestion a break, right? So most people eat like 3 meals a day and snacks, and they've been doing that all their life. Right? 2 days of juicing just gives the body a good break. So we can let all that pass, and then we can start to eat some like real food that lets our small intestine absorbs the nutrients into the blood cells a lot better, right? So we're going to be feeling a lot better. Yeah, 2 days of juicing and no food is terrible. It's hard, but the benefits afterwards are amazing. Amazing. I do juice fasting probably 2 to 3 times a year. It's only 2 days, right? Some people, if I like you do some research on it, some people do it for 5 days. There was a guy, I think his name was Joe someone, he did a 30-day juice fast and he lost shitloads of weight from it, but he did like 30 days. And I suppose talking from experience as well, like when I do juicing, after 2 days, like you go, I don't really like need food anymore, right? Because you feel so good. You know, then you go back to food, you introduce like the food back into your diet. Yeah, it tastes good because you're hungry, but you think, wow, I felt so much like better on the juice. So 2 days of juicing after a 4 week of metabolic cleanup is like really good. And then what do you do from there? Another 4 weeks on like raw foods. Right? What are raw foods? They're uncooked plant-based foods, right? Really, really good for the digestion as well, right? So much I like nutrition. So 4 weeks plus 2 days plus another like 4 weeks, that's approximately 8 weeks. Right. So after that, what we do is go into a bit more of a maintenance program, depending on the person, depend on where you're at. If you wanted to drop some more weight, if that's not your main goal overall, if it's only just to drop some like body fat percentage, right? Like 4 weeks clean up and then 2 days juice and 4 weeks on like raw food, I guarantee that you can drop at least anywhere from like 5 to 10% of your body fat, right? Like really, really important. If you still like wanted to drop some extra weight after that, there's some other options, but I generally say go into a maintenance program like with nutrition. But that's pretty much in a nutshell, like nutrition structure like that I do for like most of my members that want to lose weight. If we move into strength, the end result is going to be like building our muscle mass, right? Because if you increase like your muscle mass, you're going to speed your metabolism up, burn more fat, right? So that's the end thing. But the problem is like most people haven't got the posture, they haven't got the core, they haven't got the movement, right? So if you go into that strength and conditioning, I suppose like phase of like what we call hypertrophy, this is where it's going to be a big load and low reps. So most people haven't got the foundations. So the people that do that, they go in the gym, you always hear of people, oh, I hurt my back in the gym, I hurt my shoulder, I hurt my neck, hurt my knee, right? Because they're not going through the right process. They're going to the end instead of the starting point. So the starting point is always, it's going to be like movement, being able to move the body properly. And it's going to be posture correction, right? If we've got tightnesses and weaknesses because we can't like move properly, right? So we need to correct it. That might be stretching, mobilizing, activating, right? That's super important. Obviously, like core condition as well. If you haven't got the core condition, that means that you haven't got stability in the hips and the pelvis or the shoulder girdle, right? So there's some really, really, really important things before we start to load. right? Like once we got the posture, we got the core, we got the stability, and we can like move well, then we can add the load, right? So I was talking about like nutrition before. The first like 4 weeks, 2 days, and then like 4 weeks again. That's like 8 weeks, right? In them 8 weeks, it's like really important to be able to concentrate on all that stuff I said, like the movement, the core, the posture. And then after 8 weeks, right, if we go on a maintenance program, we can start to load up the body because like we've gone through all them corrections. And to be honest, if you're like you're not a beginner and you've been doing strength training for a long time, I still wouldn't like recommend loading the body if you're on the 2 days of juicing or a 4-week like raw food diet. Right, it's a big stress on the body, so we've got to sort of manage that as well, because obviously like we need obviously good animal proteins and stuff like that as well if we're on a hypertrophy strength and conditioning program. So like what's the best exercise to be doing? Like deadlifts is the absolute best exercise that you can be doing. Like why? Because it burns the most amount of calories. Okay, if I had a choice to only do like one exercise in the gym, it would be like deadlifts, right? Like why? Because like I said, it burns up more calories. It's a full body functional exercise. You got your glutes, you got your legs, you got your core, you got your upper body, your arms, everything is activating, right? It's going to burn the most amount of calories just through that like one exercise. So if you went into the gym and just did 10 to 12 sets of like deadlifts, if you're experienced, right, you got to have good technique and posture and stability and core and all that stuff, right? It's going to make a big difference in regard to lowering your body fat percentage. Now, like you could do 10 sets of like deadlifts in 20 like minutes, right? So that would be all you would probably need if you were time poor, right? So that's going to be like really something to think about in regard to program design, right? But it's important as well to go through those 3 phases of posture, endurance, and then into your bigger loads, what we call, it's called hypertrophy training. So that means, as I said, a bigger load, lower rep range, anywhere from 8 to 12 repetitions with a time under tension of 40 to 60 seconds, right? So that's pretty much a periodized training program for you. So yeah, like I said, I wanted to keep this short and sharp today. Hopefully that's been some great information. I would love to open like this up if anyone's got any questions.
I do. Can you hear me?
Great. Yes.
Okay. You mean like try to lose fat? You know that as you mentioned, 2-day fasting on fruit juice. What kind of fruit juice?
Yeah, good question. I've got a specific program that I use. I always say fresh juices, right? So these like juices are going through a juicer. So you take out all the fiber, because all the fiber is what is going to obviously slow your digestion down. So you take all that fiber out and it's just, you get so much absorption into the cells, into the bloodstream, right? Through that. So I normally go in the morning, a green juice, right? Green juice, so it could be like obviously celery, cucumber, zucchini, stuff like that juice. In at lunch, it's normally carrots. It could be an orange as well, and ginger, right? So them 3 in the PM at night. So obviously a dinner juice, it would be more a beetroot juice. But I do integrate some blending as well, like with the juice. Like I'll do, say, some like beetroots, I might do some green apples, and then from that juice, I'd put it in the blender and I'd put like half an avocado in there as well, right? So to give it a little bit more texture, right? To give it a little bit more fats as well on those nights. So that would be the specific juice fast. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, but it have to be 3 times a day.
Depends on the person. For me, if I do juicing, I drink 1.5 liters every 2 hours.
Only juice.
Juice. So that's a lot of fucking juice, right? That's a lot of juice. But it depends on the person. Some people, like example, like me, I love food. I love to eat, right? So I need a lot of juice to keep myself, I suppose, not from starving. But for some people as well, if you've got a toxic system, some people feel a little bit sick from it, and they're not hungry. Some people struggle to drink, say, like 1 750 like ml of juice. So it depends on the person as well. So you could want more, but you could want less. It depends on the toxicity in the body, so many factors. So in the juice program, I've got examples as a guide, right? But you got to go by feel. After like 4 weeks of fine tuning, I really get you understand like what your body should need and shouldn't need, and how you feel on that program. So yeah.
Okay, one more question, Aaron.
Yes,
because you mentioned about 2-day fasting, juice, and also 4 weeks eating raw food.
Yeah.
Because I love drinking alcohol. Can I still drink alcohol during 4 weeks?
Definitely not. No, look, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it at all. But look, if you were to drink it in that first 4 weeks on like the metabolic fine tuning, it's probably not going to be a great big deal. But on the 2 days of juicing, of course, you wouldn't drink obviously alcohol. In 4 weeks of raw foods, look, again, it's probably going to be worse. If you were to drink, I wouldn't recommend it. Look, if you needed to, it's end of the day, you're going to defeat the purpose of lowering your body fat percentage. End of the day, it's going to come down to how serious are you about your goals? How tight are your goals? And because if you're drinking alcohol, it's going to slow down that process of lowering your body fat percentage. So look, the question is, can you drink alcohol? Yeah, of course you can. But like I said, it's going to slow down the result of lowering your body fat percentage. I wouldn't recommend it. End of the day, if you're going to do something as serious as a 2-day juice fast and obviously a 4-day a 4-week raw food diet, I think you need to go, well, I'm pretty serious. I'm not going to drink as well.
Okay.
All right. Because yeah, look, just doing 2 days of juice and 4 days of raw food and drinking, yeah, it's probably going to have, I think, a minimal effect, but not going to be as beneficial if you did it super strict.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I have a lot of questions, but I can ask you later.
I've time for one more question. Go for it.
Wait a minute. I remember. Okay. Right. Wait, I forgot. I have a question.
The question going through your head, you forget. Yeah, that happens to me all the time. Have you got any questions on strength and conditioning?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
No, what do you call only one deadlift? Okay.
Deadlift. The best functional full body exercise you can do.
Yes. If you said if only one exercise that I can do the gym is deadlift, but how many weight, should I start if I don't have time and I want to do it quick? So I might have to go very heavy or very light.
Yeah, but do you remember I said from the beginning, you wouldn't go straight to the end result first. You've got to have that foundation. So posture, core, mobility, stability, and movement. So the first thing's going to be, right, so grabbing a super light weight. Generally, I start people on a broomstick and get the bend happening to make sure you've got movement first, right? Because if you load up a deadlift, especially, and if your upper back is rounding, your lower back is rounding, you're going to put a lot of pressure on your disc and your joints and your muscles, right? So technique is absolute priority before increasing the load in the deadlifts. I've been training and coaching personal training gyms for decades now, and I've seen so many people always cringe when I see someone with a bad technique. I go, man, you're going to hurt yourself. It might not be 1 week, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, but over time, a bad technique and bad posture, increasing a load, something's going to go wrong. It's like a ticking time bomb. So to answer your question, right, what load? Start with the lightest weight possible. If it looks good, if it feels good, if your technique is good and you're confident, then you can start to increase. I would go in 2.5 to 5 kilo increments at a time.
It's very light.
at a
Okay.
time. Okay. Cool. Any questions that you got, shoot me. You can send me on Facebook. You can send me wherever. You can shoot me an email. Any other questions, let me know. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I look forward. Don't forget, check out my website, aaronbuchan.com.